What's going on, everyone? So, it appears that Klay Thompson's time with the Golden State Warriors could very likely be over. So, Klay Thompson basically unfollowed and removed everything from social media regarding the Golden State Warriors. And that's usually not a good sign, right? Because it's not something that I think he would do out of just like spite or something, right? Like you could argue maybe this is a message trying to be sent to the Warriors of like, hey, I'm ready to move on. If you guys don't pay me what I want, if you guys don't, have me involved the way that I want to be involved, right? So there is that possibility, but I think he knows that's it. Right, there's tons of reports that the Golden State Warriors really want to start shedding salary, that they basically think that this era, this time is over. They want to start getting in a position to kind of retooling. They don't want to keep being this high, apron team and have to deal with the penalties and all that stuff for a team that, is not even going to make the playoffs every year. Right? We were in this conversation with Draymond, right? And they ended up keeping Draymond, which I'm okay with, like with Draymond, because I just think Draymond is more important and impactful for the Warriors than Klay is, especially at this point. But it just appears that it's very likely going to be over, right? That the Warriors they're expected to kind of cut or waive Kevon Looney because only $3 million of his $8 million is guaranteed. So that would shed some salary there. If they let go of Klay Thompson, they kind of just let him walk and leave for greener pastures. Well, then, that's even more money that they cut off the books and shed and be able to save some of their payroll tax, things like that. So the Warriors are clearly at least considering going another direction with Klay doing that. And I do think that this signals that Klay is leaving. It's kind of ironic that, the big bad Lakers were the ones that ended that dynasty, that were the ones that basically caused the divorce. And it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes up. But Klay Thompson, right? He's got to find a new place. He's got to find a new home. He's got to find a new destination. Orlando is a team that's heavily interested in Klay Thompson. They could also pay him a pretty decent amount. You look at teams like the Thunder, kind of makes sense for Klay Thompson, which he could go to the Thunder and immediately compete and contend. Like the Thunder are a team that could very well be in the NBA Finals next year, right? So he could kind of stick with Thunder, stick in the West, right, and maybe compete there. Or what about the Los Angeles Lakers? Now, let's dive into it, right? And of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions, so let me know down in the comments below. But Klay Thompson on the Lakers, I would love it. I would. I mean, he's the perfect complement alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Now, Klay Thompson isn't the guy he used to be, right? He's not your clear-cut second-best player on a championship contender. But one, he's fully aware of who he is now and the situation he's in. Two, he's very willing to come off the bench and play whatever role is necessary. Three, even on the offense and defense side, he's not who he was, especially on the defensive side, but he's still good on both sides, especially the offensive side. And he's a guy that can still go off on any moment for like 30 plus. He's still a guy that can ball out and shoot the lights out. I know a lot of people look at that Warriors game like, oh, he's trash because he like 0 for 12 or something crazy like that. But again, he'd be playing a very different role on the Lakers as opposed to the Warriors, right? The Warriors, they need him to be a 25 to 30 point game night guy. The Lakers don't really need that. Also, you'd have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like Klay Thompson would probably get looks that he hasn't gotten since like KD was on the Warriors, right? Where he was basically the third option and KD and Steph just draw so much attention. So do LeBron and Anthony Davis, right? And they'd be able to kick out to Klay, who's wide open, right? And Klay would be willing to accept the bench role, right? I wouldn't even hate, like, depending on how the roster shaped up, I don't even hate the idea of necessarily starting him. If he's like your fourth guy, right? Like, if you were able to sign him and then go trade for, DeJounte Murray or something like that and go like Murray, Klay, Vando, LeBron, and AD, right? If you could do something like that, like, I would be all for that. Obviously, there's a couple factors that go into it. Now, one, Lakers at best could give him the mid-level exception, right? He wants to get paid. And that's one of the problems that he's having with the Warriors. The Warriors want to pay him, so they just don't want to pay him the max or anything close to that, right? I think they want to give him like $20-25 million a year, something like that. And he wants more, right? So does he go look for the biggest bag? Which, I mean, could make sense. Again, he's only getting older. He's already got his championships, right? He could go to an organization where he plays some minutes and just gets the most money possible, it's very possible. Or does he want to go and compete and continue to try to play for NBA championships and play on a winning team, right? So to me, it's just kind of, okay, what direction do you want to go? Are you solely for the money, or are you for, hey, like, I want to be in the best position possible, somewhere I'm comfortable, right? Lakers make a lot of sense in that regard. Doesn't have to leave California. He gets to just go right down the road, and now he's in LA. His father, obviously, Michael Thompson, Laker, right? So there's always been that tie. There's always been that connection. And there's always kind of been this talk, like, if Klay were ever to leave the Golden State Warriors, that the Lakers would be that place and could kind of round out his career. And, he kind of have his farewell tour on the organization that his father played on. But again, is he willing to kind of take the mid-level exception, right? I don't think he's worth, 25, 30 million plus. But I do think, if you can get him, I think he's worth 15 to maybe 20 in the right situation. Like a team like Orlando, I could see them paying him 20 million, because you're probably going to have to overpay a little bit for a guy like him. But would he take kind of the hometown discount, right? Like if his offers, let's say, are around 15 million, teams are just kind of offering him 15 million. Would he be like, for 2 million less, I could play with the Lakers, right? Like, if I can go get 15 over here, obviously 15 in like Orlando or, Florida is not the same as 13 in LA because taxes and stuff, but still, like, Boyd does he kind of look at it and go, okay, like, I get to kind of, have that Lakers stint and put on the jersey and, be, have my father in the stands happy and excited to see me and the team that he played for, right? Like, there could be that family dynamic, that family thing. Also, I think opportunity would go a long way, right? Like, if the Lakers assured him he would start, right? Like, again, let's say they go trade for DeJounte Murray, right? Just using him as an example, right? And they're like, hey, like, you'll start? Because, again, DeJounte Murray, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they need the shooter, they need the floor spacer. Klay Thompson would be that, right? And Klay Thompson, again, isn't the guy. He's not even the second guy. He's probably not even the third guy. He can be on any given night, right? He's still constantly a threat, and teams are constantly going to respect him. Teams aren't just going to leave him wide open, right? So the gravity that he would draw would just be insane. And so to me, it's like, if he's now your fourth guy, right? Like, yeah. And the beauty is he is still one of the biggest off-ball threats in the entire league. And he's a guy that he wouldn't take away from everybody else. Like, I mean, this is a guy that dropped like 40 or 37 or something like that on like 3 dribbles like a couple years ago. Like, this, again, like, you want a guy that could play off of LeBron and AD. Right? That's a guy that could do it. If the Lakers were to go get another star, now if you were to get like Trey, I don't think Klay makes as much sense, right? Because, I mean, if he's willing to come off the bench still, right, it would be nice to have that shooter off the bench. But Klay isn't the defender he once was. Like, if Klay was still that, like, lockdown defender, right, like, he's still serviceable. He still can hold his own, right? I think in the right defensive schemes, like, Klay Thompson could still be good. That's why, like, if you had, like, a DeJounte Murray, Klay Thompson, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, I think Klay would look much better defensively, because now he's defending, the third best player on the other team rather than the first or second best player, right? So he would look better. He doesn't have the movement that he used to have, but I do think he still has a lot left in the tank. And because he's such a great shooter, right, he's a guy that, like, he'll age well, right? Because that's usually the problem. Like, once they start getting into, like, the mid to late 30s, it's like, how is this guy going to perform? Well, he's one of the greatest shooters ever, right? Like, if it wasn't for Steph Curry, he might be the greatest shooter ever, right? So it's like, he's going to age like fine wine as far as, obviously the injuries and his knees and stuff. Like, there's a lot of questions about him just deteriorating and getting injured, but assuming he can stay healthy, I mean, he could probably play till he's 40, right? So maybe even longer. But to add a guy like him, again, if he's our third guy, it begs the question. Granted, could Klay kind of kind of have the revenge factor, kind of have the like, okay, I'm about to show the league factor, and like, if you could get Klay from like the 2022 Klay, even like, which that's not prime Klay, but you get that like 2022 Klay, I'd take that, right? Like, as your third guy alongside LeBron and AD. again, it kind of boils down to money, right? Like, would he be willing to take a lesser bag, right? Would he be open to like, okay, like you know, I'll take the 13 million, I'll take the taxpayer or the full mid level, right? You know, or does he want to go chase the bag? Which I would like. No one would blame him if he did. Like, no one would be upset if he did. I mean, again, the guy has his championships. He's got 4, right? He doesn't necessarily need to go win more, right? But you know, does he look at it as like, hey, if I can kind of have the best of both worlds, everyone's kind of offering me like 15 to 18 range, right? If I could just go to Lakers, stay in LA, right? Get paid, play with LeBron and Anthony Davis, potentially for a championship. Let me stick around and do that. I'm open to it. I don't hate the idea. Again, I don't hate the idea at all. And again, who are you getting that's better with your mid-level exception, right? Go look at the free agents this year, right? Like, realistically, who are you getting with your full mid-level exception? So, to me, if you can get Klay, Lakers need shooting. Klay is a no-brainer. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, like, yes, got to go get Klay if you can get him for the mid-level exception? Do you think, no, stay away from Klay? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.